quote-unquote leadership, which is like bossing people around, keeping people on their toes, keeping people sort of afraid of you. Leadership that really doesn't deserve the term leadership, is it?
Yeah, it's not the leadership that creates societies or maintains them. It maintains the status quo, as unjust and unequal and unfair as it is. It's just maintaining it. It's not the future of the human race. It's that kind of leadership that leads nations to destruction, which I'm sure Trump would be happy to do if he's allowed to.
I called him the demolition crew.
That gives him too much credit. If you're demolishing something, you usually have a plan. I think these guys don't really have a plan. You know what I mean? They're operating mostly from instinct, subconscious. Well, the sad thing about Trump is there's millions of Americans willing to line up behind him and egg him on, you know, and use him as a role model. That's a really sad part. By himself, he's powerless. He has no power. But that's been true of all so-called leaders. The greatest leaders, whether they're evil or good, are powerless without followers that carry out their wishes. You know, it's kind of the essence of Trump, and this is true from the beginning. He never hid who he was and who he was being. He never pretended to be something he wasn't. He was always totally out front about what kind of a person he was, what he believed in, and what he would do if he ever became president. And by golly, he's the same guy, and he's actually doing the things that he said he would do if he became president. So, hey, you know.
That's why his base is still super happy with him.
Yeah, a very high support level. It's still around 40% approval, which is like extraordinary, you know. But I mean, it also shows that there, you know, Trump was in tune, in harmony with the will of the American people. He was not transgressing the will of the American people. He was fulfilling the will of the American people through becoming a candidate, through becoming elected, and through everything he's done since then. It hasn't been, you know, in opposition to the will of the American people. It might be in opposition to the East Coast or the West Coast. So, I mean, take a good look, America. Donald Trump is America. If you don't like it, well... The whole thing about politics is as soon as the election is over, people forget what things were like before, and they start complaining about the current government just the same as they complained about the previous government. You know what I mean? There's just as many complaints in the space. Nothing has really changed, just the players. They switch the politicians around, but people's feelings of dissatisfaction haven't changed. You know, and that's got nothing to do with politicians. It's got to do with people. Yeah.
And what is the solution?
Yeah. Solution is Kofifi, of course.
So what is the root cause of Donald Trump?
Of course, the root cause, the ultimate cause is this feeling of separation, this near universal feeling of separation from source. So I'm not connected to source, which immediately makes me feel anxious, afraid, lonely, vulnerable. Yeah. And out of my fear comes my aggression.
Sorry, Angel. And action.
You mean reaction. So this feeling of separation, which is so common, people just take it for granted that's how it is. That's how one does feel. It's taken as a fundamental of human nature to feel lost and disconnected and afraid. That's the human experience.
And when you feel connected to Source, since Source is connected to everything, you feel connected to everything.
Yeah.
And then the thirst for control or manipulation or taking advantage of or destroying anybody else or anything else really ceases to be.
Yeah, it
doesn't
just disappears.
How interesting. So it's a one solution fits all.
Yeah. Yes.
Maybe we should trademark it.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, we all have to log into Source and live happily ever.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
You want to go to the garden?
I'm gonna bring back some soil. I want to plant my planter
Right, yeah.
here.
Because
There's
even
no-
though we know our time is numbered, that doesn't stop us from just making everything more beautiful
Yeah.
like we always do.
Always.
I love you.
And it's free. It doesn't cost anything. I'm not spending any money. I have the seeds. I have the soil. I have the pot.
You have the
I
trellis.
have the trellis. Everything's there. So
And you know who's going to appreciate this?
our mysterious hummingbird. I love you.
How flipping cute is this puppy angel?
That's a great puppy, especially when she's sleeping. Even better.